And we're back for another exciting episode of the Creators Collective. This week should be a very interesting week as it's just the three of us. We're kind of doing our own home brewed thing, no extras in here. So let's jump into this. I do want to say a huge thank you to our patrons on Patreon, particularly Darren Mates and Caleb Harris of You Can Make This Too. Thanks for helping us make this better. If you'd like to find out more about helping us out, you can do that on patreon.com/Creators Collective. You can also listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, Cloud, Stitcher Cloud, SoundCloud. There it is. All those fun places. And we are live every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time here on the Creators Collective YouTube channel. So you can join us and have your questions answered live on air. We do hang out with the chat as much as possible. So let's dive into what we're working on. Zach, what you got?
Right now I'm working on picking my Creators Photo Challenge winners.
That's right, we're doing that this week.
In general, man, just all sorts of things. So as far as work wise, I've been I took like a week off to kind of catch up. I lied to everybody. I'm a liar. I told them that I was like 2 to 3 weeks out on my orders, but in reality I was all caught up. But I needed a week or two for myself to catch up on things, and I had to do some work on my press and tighten up the tolerances. So I had to kind of machine some parts on that and get it the way I wanted, and just kind of tune up things, clean up the shop a bit, strategize things. So that's kind of what I was doing. And then I spent the past like 4 or 5 days just trying to crank out. I totally forgot that Valentine's Day is coming up. All of a sudden, I started getting a ton of the orders for the blacksmith roses on my website. So I've pretty much been spending the last 3-4 days getting those things built and ready to send out. Got a new batch of shirts in, so yeah, it's been good. But the move stuff, as we're getting kind of closer to that, man, it's equal parts exciting and frustrating, because trying to move across the country is it is so challenging.
Been there, done
Because
that.
oh my God, well, I mean, we've done it before, but it wasn't. We don't technically own our house right now, so it wasn't that big of an issue. But we're trying to buy a place, and you have to sync up. You have to sync up a job, because they want to know that you have a job, obviously, before they give you a bunch of money for a house. Which isn't a problem for me, but my wife is the breadwinner of the family, and without her income, we don't get it. We don't get approved for for anything. So we have to, to sync that. We have to find a job and a house like simultaneously, and we haven't had any luck finding work up in Bellingham, unfortunately. So we've expanded our reach. So she's interviewing for a place in Eugene, Oregon. We found a place with a shop in Corvallis that's an amazing shop. It's beautiful. Then we find out that, the foundation is questionable on the house, and it's on a floodplain. So just all of these things, it's just so hard. Places with shops just they're not common, anywhere. So, and everyone that we found so far has some other issues. And as much as I could deal with the problems, a bank won't lend you money if if they think the foundation is questionable. They're not gonna lend you money for it. So it's just that we're having a really hard time finding either. We can find work and we can find places, but finding them both in this, within 60 miles of each other's has been a bit difficult. But yeah, we'll see what happens. So if anybody in the Pacific Northwest knows of anywhere where those two things coexist, let me know.
Well, isn't that exactly the opposite of what Darwin Orver just did? They moved from Corvallis in their tiny little house and moved across the country over here to this big house with a monster shop. And
yeah, I think so. We can find, like I said, we found a few places with shops. I need a minimum of 1,000 square feet, and that's small. I would love to have at least twice that, but I'm willing to settle for 1,000 square feet. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, they were in Corvallis, but they're close to you now, right? Sort of?
Yeah, they're about an hour away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still need to get over there and check out their new shop. They reached out around the holidays, but I was like crazy busy. I couldn't get out of my shop. Couldn't get, you know how it is around the holidays.
Yeah. Yep.
He wants everything.
So that's what I've been up to.
How about you? Cool. How about you, James?
Well, I've been working on a subscriber counter, and I put out a video on it this last week where I basically failed. I was trying to create I wanted it to look like a block of wood, but you can see the LED through the grain in the wood. And so I have to mortise out from the inside to inset the LED counter up against the inside of the face, and then plane it down smooth until you can start to see the letters come through. The problem is the LED that I had wasn't quite as bright as it needed to be. And so I literally had to take the thickness of the wood down to about 1/1000th of an inch for the light to shine through. And that is, one really fine smoothing pass. And unfortunately, I was able to get it down to that thickness, but because there were edges around, it actually took off a little bit more on the outside than it did on the face because it bowed in. And so it looks like a mess. And it was kind of a learning experience. So I'm gonna experiment with a few other things, but I haven't quite found a way to shave it, because basically you end up with a layer that's 2 or 3 thousandths thick. And can you imagine shaving a shaving in half? So that's basically what I'm trying to do and find a way of doing it. And I can't sand, because if you put any pressure on it, it's going to be putting different, because I mean, I have the LCD screen supporting the back, but the LCD screen itself flexes a little bit. And so if you're sanding, you're going to be putting more pressure in one spot or another, and you're not going to get that even smoothness across it. So
I know this isn't your design concept, but could you not just mortise out and do a thin layer of epoxy? So it wouldn't be shining through the wood, but it'd be shining through epoxy.
Yeah, that's one of the other things I'm thinking about, as well as insetting a small piece of like frosted glass or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple other options like that, but I was trying to. What I want to do is find a brighter LCD or LCD, liquid crystal display. Yeah, LCD. I want to find a brighter one so that I can have a thicker one, because I have an alarm clock that I made a while ago that it's shining through about a 1/16 inch of wood, and it's a really bright LED or LCD. So yeah, I've got a few other things I want to try, but it was kind of fun to experiment with something I've never really played with before, and actually do a video on talking through what I'm thinking and how I'm wanting to address it. Yeah. Oh, and then I started on my next big furniture build, because I've had a lot of people, why don't you do more furniture? Well, I just finished the table. Give me a moment. So I like to do a big project and then do a bunch of little things until my brain gets back into it, and then another big project. So I'm starting in on designing the bedroom bed today. Is there a bedroom that's not in a bedroom?
You could have a day bed, like
Yeah.
a sunroom.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make my wife's bed, and I'm gonna do like a mission style to match the dresser that I made a year ago. So that should be a lot of fun. Stay tuned. What about you, Will?
Oh man, I finally bartops. Those were installed. I was there till like 8 o'clock the other night, just like trying to like get it wrapped up, get it done. It turned out really a lot nicer than I had anticipated. Kind of going into this job, the client had built the bar itself and then put a substrate down, and I would have done it. And they wanted me to lay down like 4/4 stock on top of the substrate instead of making the top like its own support, like you would like a tabletop. And so I went about it a little differently than I would have if I was designing the project from the ground up. But it turned out really, really well. And I made just a lot of walnut. So that I was happy to get that wrapped up. The walnut knife case I just applied finish to yesterday afternoon, and I'm going to be setting the glass in the door this and deliver that probably tomorrow. That was a good, fun, easy, no issues project. In direct contrast to the 13-foot long bar tops, this is 30 inches tall. Nice. I was going to bring in the massive walnut slabs to get those flattened and joined today, but it's raining cats and dogs, and I don't really feel like moving big slabs in a mud pit and getting them all wet. I think I might turn some bowls today.
Sounds like a good day for bowls.
It sounds like a good day for bowls. Yeah. So I'll be turning some bowls. I'll probably put some of those up on my online store if anybody's interested. It's www.wmwalkerco.com. Little shameless plug there. And if you see them up there, they're still for sale and they could be yours. And what else? Oh, I'm about to start. I'm bidding right now on a custom piece of furniture that goes in a very narrow space that the client wants to fit her clothes in. So it's only about 19.5 inches wide, the space. Some design hurdles I need to get over on that. I'm thinking sort of like an armoir hutch type thing, something really tall and narrow. But I don't know. Do you guys have any ideas? Just off the top of my head, I'm like
19-inch wide hutch. That'd be interesting. So
probably about 20 inches deep.
Yeah, I was going to say about as deep as it is wide.
Mm-hmm.
More like a chimney storage unit.
Yeah, and then I'd mount it to the back wall because it would be, have a tipping factor if it was, that narrow.
I
don't know.
That's an interesting idea. So is it like a little alcove in the room, or?
It's an old church house, and this was the Sunday school room that they're now turning into their home. And so I haven't seen it in person yet, but I just got an email, and so I don't know. That's just in its infancy. So I might hear more about that, or I might pass on the job. I don't know. I haven't passed on enough jobs lately. I need some me time, like Zack said.
Yeah, for those of you worrying, I'm sorry, but Will is having rain right now, so his satellite cuts in and out a bit, but not bad compared to
Just out of curiosity, what's a decent property with what's like the going rate of a decent house with a big shop somewhere up there? Just a ballpark. I know that's a totally specific thing to regenerate, but
if you're in Albemarle County, which is where Charlottesville, it's a very affluent county, and a decent sized house with a decent sized shop with any kind of land, I'd probably say like 500,000.
Okay, so that's definitely off the not gonna happen.
But if you move just outside to one of the neighboring counties that doesn't have Charlottesville, you're talking like 250,000.
I'm thinking we're actually going to move to Siberia, and I'm just going to make an igloo shop or something, because the housing market is so. I don't know, man. It is so messed up right now.
I was just looking at a piece of property the other day. It's 10 acres with a barn. It was 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. The house was a little older, but in good condition, for 160.
That's insane.
Wow.
But how far away from civilization is it?
10-minute drive from the strip with every store you've wanted. 3 big box stores.
Send me a link to that. I don't even care at this point. I just want, like, I'll live on a houseboat if it has a shop. I don't even care. I'm sure I'd have to pay like tax to, wait out in the Pacific Ocean or something. Ridiculous. I don't know, man. I'm angry because I think the market is so overinflated right now. Like if you're a first time home buyer and you don't have equity to transfer into a house, it's like you're out of luck. It's just you don't get a house now. You missed that ship by 10 years. So I'm hoping that with no government employees being paid, that our economy tanks a little bit so that we can buy a house. That's terrible.
Yeah,
anyway.
if you really want to have cheap
burst.
What's that?
If you really want to have cheap, we were looking at a house in Michigan because I was looking at houses on runways.
I think
and it's on a runway in Michigan, northern Michigan. It was 15 acres, a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house with a hangar for $60,000.
That's insane.
What?
Maybe me and Third Coast Craftsman will be neighbors.
Well, it's like northern Michigan, so it'd be like 4 hours north of him.
Anytime I think of the Great Lakes, I always have like this Edmund Fitzgerald gets stuck in my head. That's all I think of.
Yeah.
I don't even know which Great Lake it was.
Fitzgerald.
Yeah, any one of them, anywhere up there, you can't say it without that song just looping in my head over and over. I think Chris should do that song in every one of his Instagram videos. Have it playing in the background, every single one.
One of my very best friends is from the Upper Peninsula, so he's a Youper. He's from the Yoop, and he walks into my house singing that song quite frequently.
That's funny. Yeah.
You heard about the Youper who just bought 300 septic tanks?
No.
He's planning to invade Canada as soon as he can learn to drive them.
Joke of the week. I love it.
Sorry, I'm from northern Michigan, so I've been both a troll and a Youper. Yeah, let's actually jump into the Creators Photo Challenge then, since we're a little low on questions this week. If anyone in the live chat has a question, feel free to send it in, and we will get to it. Zach, you don't have anything listed, so let's skip you.
I know what they are, though.
Oh, okay. What are they? What is your?
Well, let me get the names. I know which ones. Fernie B or Fernib Creations. It's very subtle, but it's just a table saw blade running, and you can miss it if you're not looking for it. You don't even notice that the blade's spinning. It's like a little GIF or something. Did you guys notice that? You probably didn't, did you? Huh?
Oh,
yeah.
Hang on, I'm looking right now. I'm looking.
All right,
Hang
you
on.
do that. Yeah, right. It's subtle.
Yeah, what are those?
It is
what are those called?
Oh, I saw that. I didn't see it was a video. I thought it was just a picture.
Yeah,
it's called a cinematograph.
Yes. And then, God, I'm torn between Frog Legs Craftworks and Tom McAllister from McAllister Home. And the only reason I'm going to go with Frog Legs Craftworks is because Tom already owns like everything that I've ever made, and I think it's my time for the giveaway. So unless he wants like a 5th shirt from me, I'm gonna pick Frog Legs Craftworks.
Cool.
All right.
What about you, Zach? Or Will? The other guy?
The other guy, yeah, whatever. The other guy with the beard. I'm gonna go with Frog Legs because it's a good, cool photo. And Frog Legs, if you're listening,
I don't think Will.
It's a back saw. It looks like a dovetail saw, and it looks like it was like the 3 times. And so there's it shows the motion through the cut of what looks like he's cutting either a tenon or a dovetail.
He's cutting the pins.
He's cutting the pins. Okay. And if Frog Legs, if you're listening, I have your bowl that you won last time in the box with the shipping label on it that was supposed to go out like last week. It's still coming to you, I promise. And my other one is McAllister, which he is, and he's planing, hand planing, and his arms are in motion.
How can you say no to a hand plane?
That's right. What do you got, James?
I am actually going to do the exact same two that you picked. I know, crazy. But Frog Legs Works it's a Lee Nielsen dovetail saw. And it's just really kind of cool. It's not your normal motion because it's like 3 pictures overlaid. And everything is exactly the same place. Him in the background is the same place. All the tools are in the same place. It's just the moving hand and the saw. There's 3 clips that overlap each other. It's very, very kind of cool. It made me think through, how I would accomplish that. So yeah, and each of the 3 frames are very crisp, sharp frames. So it's not like a blur. It's kind of interesting. So definitely worth taking a look at. And then my second pick is McAllister Home, planing at the bench, and he is at a really nice maple solid heavy duty bench planing what looks to be a weird piece of babinga, but kind of cool. And how can you say no to planing? So I think that means that Frog Legs Works is the winner this week. So Zach, what did he win?
I'm gonna send him a T-shirt. Let me know what color and size. I have black, gray, and whichever size you need. Hopefully.
Sweet.
Except for that one size.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Jonathan24 said in Siberia you could buy an igloo.
Yeah. It's true.
Build your own house, your own shop. I don't know. Can you forge inside an igloo or do you melt the house down?
I don't know. Guess I'll find out.
Cool. We do have one question from Carson Buys. Anybody got an alternative to buying a bunch of clamps to make a workbench? And I would have to say, well, the easiest way not to buy a bunch of clamps for workbench is to build it out of a single solid slab. No need to clamp up the top then. But
I've also seen where people laminate with screws in between the layers, except for the outside layers. So you would, put your laminations together and just screw through the face, and then put the next laminate face, and then when you get to the outside, you'd have to clamp the outside. But
just be careful where you drill your dog holes.
So
that's right.
if I were to do my workbench over again, which I might have to because I don't know that I want to. When we move, I don't know if I want to move it. I don't think I'm gonna glue up the top unless I do like the Roubeau style where the wood's actually on end. I think I would literally just like pin nail boards down with like maybe a 32nd of an inch gap in between them because they move. Maybe it's just because I'm in Florida and the humidity changes so much, but my top has, I dried out the wood that I used for the top for a long time and it's still, cupped considerably over the past couple of years. So I think
you have it, what, 1.5 inch thick laying flat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I think that, realistically, at least the way I use stuff, like it's eventually it's going to need to be replaced. And how easy would it be if, you just sunk like little pin nails into your boards, and if you ever need to replace them or whatever, you can just pry it off and stick another one down on it.
I know you don't use a workbench the same way that like me or James would, but I would worry more about vibration. Like if you're pounding on something and a board does warp, like it might pull up the board on the opposite and be really frustrating.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's the English woodwork or whatever he did. It's called like a plank top. And after I built mine, I saw that. And I'm like, yeah, I think there's some merit to that. But
yeah, then the other option is you can do what I did and make your own clamps. Or you can do the old wedge system where you basically have a frame. You run 2x4s underneath your lamination top, and you can wedge it up against something solid, and on the other side drive in wedges so that they compress it together.
Or you can get a welder and start doing that for all of your structural things.
Or Sean Sturgis in the live comment says threaded rods, which I've seen that done before in the past, where you bore holes through all your laminations and then you stick a piece of threaded rod in with nuts, and it essentially is a clamp, but you're not buying a bunch of clamps, you're just buying threaded nuts. But then again, you have to worry about where your dog holes go.
Cool. Well, what do we got next? Oh, we do have a joke of the week, and this one is very pertinent to right now. Did you hear about the trees in the national forest? After 5 weeks of government furlough, they were all bored.
Nice. Took me a second.
Hard hitting political humor here on the Creators Collective podcast.
Let's be worried about our trees getting bored. I like it. So if you have a joke you'd like to have us read, go ahead and send it to us. We do have currently a long list of them, but we'll get to them eventually. So, what you watching and reading, Will? What's inspiring you?
So I got to go with one of the OGs, the Spags, Mark Spagnolo, the Wood Whisperer. Just put out a video. It's like a 5-minute long video on making an in-drawer knife block organizer holder thing. And he ripped off the idea off of his mother's wish list on Amazon. Instead of buying it for $20, he made it out of Brazilian American cherry, and it was just a cool, simple design. I was
sad he didn't use Babinga.
Just because he likes to say Babinga.
Yeah,
I think you got to say it in like a redneck accent.
Well, it used to be. He used to use Babinga like I use White Oak.
Yeah,
he hasn't used it much in the last couple of years.
I've only used Babinga once, and it was frustrating to work with, but pretty.
I almost bought a slab of Babinga Tuesday. There was, I'm finding there's an antique store down the road from me that actually has a huge selection of rare woods, and they had a slab of Babinga, 2 inches thick, 18 inches wide, perfectly clear, 8-9 foot long, and they wanted $300 for it, but it was pretty.
That's not bad though. I mean, if you do the board foot price.
Yeah, no, it was a decent price, and especially it was a really nice grain, so it would have been a good piece. But there's a bunch of other things there that I probably would purchase as well. So, yes. Where do you buy your lumber? Antique stores.
What's inspiring you, Zach?
Ooh, did I write something down?
Yes.
Very inspiring, whatever it is. I have to look back and see if I wrote something down.
Read what you wrote down. Houses ...
Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess the title that we have on the notes is why can't I find it? What's wrong with me? Where is it? Oh, what's new? What are we reading, watching? Yeah. So I'm not really. I wouldn't say it's inspiring, but yeah, that's where a good amount of my time is just trying to find houses with shops anywhere. Anywhere as we get
anywhere
more
but
desperate.
Florida.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, so ideally we really want to be up in the Pacific Northwest somewhere. So we've looked at Bellingham, we looked at Corvallis, Eugene, even Bend, anywhere the outskirts of Portland, anywhere up there like Oregon, Washington. My wife she's from Cincinnati originally, so we've even looked at some places out there, and it's just difficult. It's difficult timing stuff. So I wouldn't say it's things that have been inspiring me, but that's what I've been doing when I'm not out in the shop.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I have to say, I've been the channel that I've been watching for a long time, and I've just been going back through and rewatching a bunch of stuff, is Acorn to Arabella. And they're building a I think it's like 60-foot long sailing yacht, and they're building it completely from all new timber that is mostly locally sourced. So they're working with these beams, and they're actually steaming the ribs, the frames that go up the side of the boat. And it's kind of amazing how they go through it, because I mean, it's not an all hand tool thing like I normally talk about, but it's a lot of hand tool work where there's just the easiest, fastest way to do it is to grab an adze and chop away, or grab a large slick and chop in. It's kind of impressive to watch and see how, you know, a couple guys can throw together a shed in their backyard and build a boat. So definitely a channel worth watching. And one of these days I want to get out there and say hey to them. But yeah. Cool. Well, let's talk about our favorite product of the week. Zach, you're first.
Oh, what do I? Oh, post vise. So I have a post vise that I like. Yeah. So I got a post vise a while ago from Andrew Alexander from Blacksmith Tools, and I built a stand for it, and I'll have a video that I need to put out soon. I haven't edited it. That's hard to say. Edited it. I haven't had a chance to edit the footage. So as soon as I do that, I'll get the video out, hopefully here in the next couple of weeks. And yeah, but it's just incredibly useful for all sorts of things. It's nice to have a jaw that can open up, well, as large as I need it to, and yeah, it's great, good stuff.
Cool. Yeah, did you put that on Instagram? Because I haven't seen a picture of it.
No, I've been hiding it because here's what I found is, like, if people have seen something, they'll scroll right by it the next time they see it. So I'm kind of waiting to post stuff about it I had it on my stories, but when I put the video out, I'll post it on my Instagram, because if people have seen it and it's old news, they won't even read. You guys have horrible attention spans. Not you two particularly. I'm just saying, the world in general. Like, yeah, I've seen it.
What about you, Will? What you got?
I gotta go with a manual pencil sharpener. I was just finishing up this knife display case, and in the display case there are a lot of holes bored, quarter-inch holes bored at 5 degrees, so it tips up 5 degrees. Add in a quarter-inch dowel, walnut dowel, and to make the dowels fit easier into the holes, to start the holes, I just use my little pencil sharpener and just kind of round it off the ends a little bit. And it's a good cheap, it's like $6. Just a little tip for you. So
Sean Sturgis says, why not electric? Do you have anything against electric?
What do you got, James?
Cool. I've got the side rabbet plane. Do you know what a side rabbet plane is?
Ooh. No.
Then why'd you go ooh?
Maybe. It intrigued me. It intrigued me.
It's actually it's a tool designed for one particular use, and there really isn't any other particular use you can do for it. But if you cut a dado or a groove for a shelf to slide into, or you need something to then mortise inside of a dado or groove, it used to be that you always had your planes, but your planes had a specific width. And so if you planed it down to something slightly thicker than whatever that width is, you would either have to plane the shelf down to match the groove, or you would have to widen the groove. But widening a groove is a difficult thing to do with hand tools. I mean, you can go along a line with a chisel, but it's a hard thing to lay out, to mark, and to chop down with a chisel. So a side rabbet plane is actually a little plane that fits down into the groove and will widen out the sidewalls of the groove. And that's really its only use. I haven't found anything else that I can really do with it that makes it. I mean, you probably could do rabbets with it, but it would be a hard tool to do that with.
Could you use it to shoot a board, like to shoot a miter or something?
No, because it's very small. I mean, its cutting depth is like a quarter inch. I think it's up to about a half inch. But it's an ultra low angle, because I mean the blade is cut at about 20 degrees, and the bed angle is like 5 degrees. So it's incredibly low angle. So if you're doing If you're doing a dado where you're cutting the end groove, the end grain, it's low enough that it'll chop through it. But I've got a video coming out later today, and it's a tool that I've wanted for a long time, but I've never had a use for it. And I generally don't buy tools for myself unless I have a particular use for it. Well, I have a use for it, so I went out and bought one. I was very excited. So, yeah. I think that's about it. Am I missing anything?
Cool.
Cool. Then I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has joined us today, particularly in the live chat. Thanks for coming along for the ride and having some fun. If you'd like to help us out, you can go to patreon.com/Creators Collective. And we record here every Thursday on YouTube at 9 o'clock my time, 10 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern time. Wow, I'm having problems. And we'd love to see you in the live chat. So I think that's about it for this week. And until next time, have a wonderful day.
See you later.
Adios.